When the ego dies, what is left? Our ego is the sense of self we develop from a young age. It shapes who we are and how we view ourselves. The ego also helps us strengthen and shapes our personality and is a component of our identity. Even though ego is crucial, it may occasionally be essential to experience a phenomenon known as ego death. The ego death is a mental shift during which one separates from some of those things in which he bases his sense of self and identity. The ego death is necessary because it helps us encounter our true sense of self and spirit by doing away with the old self. With ego death, you tend to identify less with the self. The ego will lose all of its nerve and hold on what it had over you, and with time, you will come to know that you were mistakenly identifying with it. When we say ego death, it doesn't mean that you lost a sense of who you are. Instead, some of your perception about life and reality alters drastically. It's challenging to accomplish a triumphant ego death. Sometimes those who embark on the self-development journey will back out, and others may wrongly perceive the whole idea and condemn it. One thing is sure, those who have experienced it know that it is a time-consuming process. It is lifelong, and that each experience of ego death varies for individuals. When the ego dies, you no longer look at life from your previous perspective. Hence, things about life hold a better meaning and become reasonably clear. You gain a clear grasp of what is happening in the world, and finally, you realize what the world and you are made of. Numerous times, the ego is both born and dies. Every time you assume an identity, you may undergo an ego death to become completely aware of your truth. You begin to engage in the present moment better than before, fully. And although the ego's relentless barrage of ideas and feelings never stops, you are no longer consumed by it. You have the option to participate or not. That is true liberty. Knowing that everything in life is temporary and subject to change. You let go of everything and live in the now, accepting whatever comes your way. You are also no longer trying to suppress your joy because you are no longer burying your misery. Life starts having meaning, and despite the good and the bad times, each makes sense to you. Furthermore, you are not self-centered because you aren't miserable. You think less about yourself and will become a calmer version of yourself. The ego is merely an internal concept. Your relationship with yourself is at stake. It is an idea through which you perceive everything else. The relationship between your egoic thought and this outer object influences your perceptions of external stimuli or objects. The self melts into everything as the ego vanishes, creating a sense of unity within everything. If you meditate, it is a feeling. Nothing compares to that when you genuinely blend into everything.